do you know what that means? And he's like, yeah, obviously. Do you know do you not? And you're like, no. I know what that means. Of course. Temporal redundancy. And then it's just gotten so big that everyone says it and no one knows what it means.
We are an agile company interested in synergy, biological hypnosis, and temporal redundancy.
Hello, and welcome to the Tabletop Travel Guide, the podcast where we explore fictional worlds and civilizations right from the comfort of our own table. I'm Sam, and this week in sessions, what did I do? I canceled my Tuesday session. We didn't have Wednesday. And Thursday we play tested for Gen Con because I can't talk about it, so I don't know how to talk about that either. What did we do last week? Oh, no.
Last week, we almost died.
But you
weren't there.
I wasn't there for that. What did we do on our Thursday group last week? Did we do our Thursday group last week?
Yeah, you guys fought some...
Was this where I got attacked by the birds?
You guys fought some roly-polies.
Oh, yes. I really liked Tyler's combat that we did last week because I figured out that they were creatures and not just giant balls. That sounded weird when I said it like that. Anyway, it was like Indiana Jones.
Yes.
And I got to use a prismatic wall. And it was an excellent use of prismatic wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they were like rolling across, like crisscrossing bridges over like a chasm.
Yeah.
And so I was able to throw up a prismatic wall across one of those pathways. And then that just wrecks some creatures. So I did really enjoy that combat.
Yeah, I'm Tyler, and that was a good tactics from the team too, because you guys, it was basically two creatures that could roll up and then like go a couple hundred feet, and they were basically going in and out of tunnels, trampling people, and then going off.
Out.
And like everybody did a good job to like slow them down, to fight them and get them off guard. And prismatic wall. Somebody threw up a firewall and a mud pit, and that was pretty good combat. You guys did a good job there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Ryan, and we talked more about this in the Patreon episode, but Tyler and I almost died last week in our campaign.
Oh my gosh.
It was a close one.
It's a close one.
Should have died. Bleed damage.
Should have died, but also shouldn't have died because everybody did some rules wrong.
There were mistakes made on both sides of the GM screen.
If there was if we did an actual play, there'd be a lot of things we misspoke on.
Yeah. It was fun. Cindy Suplex lives another day.
Cindy Suplex lives another day. She can suplex forevermore.
On that note, as we get started today, reminder that you can support us on Patreon. There's a link in our show notes and also a page on our website, or you can search us at Tabletop Travel Guide Podcast on Patreon. We don't think that we misspoke anything last time, so we're going to roll with that until somebody calls us out on it. So today we're going to jump right in. Ryan is taking us to our next fabulous location or group of people or...
Yeah.
So we're taking a little bit of a side. We had a Patreon vote of organizations a while ago. Sorry, it's been a while. And we had you guys vote on what organization you wanted to learn about. And you guys voted on the Aspis Consortium.
The Aspis Consortium. And this is kind of timely because they are a global organization, so it kind of made sense to slide them in here at some point anyway.
Yeah.
They're sort of like a nation state, kinda.
Okay.
Maybe.
My only reference to them is occasionally when it's like, oh, we're dealing with somebody else in a campaign, like in one of your campaigns, and it's like, they're backed by the Aspis Consortium, and you're like, who's that?
Oops.
They seem shady, but you have no idea.
Yeah. You can't nail it down. So as we go through this episode, just keep thinking like either the Mafia or the Yakuza.
Okay.
Like crime family, crime syndicate. They're difficult to nail down. There's not a ton written about them. This is actually mostly from just a few pages in the Inner Sea World Guide.
Okay.
A little bit of wiki scrolling, a couple things I pulled from a couple adventure paths. But there's not a ton of information. They are a great bad guy, though. So they only start 200-ish years ago. There's not like a date explicitly given in any of the sources I could find. So like 4510, 4520, somewhere in there.
So yeah, so like 200 years.
Because 200 years ago as of first edition. So I had to add a little bit. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So 4510, 4520-ish. Okay, someone help me on this name. Jagandaraj? Jandaraj?
Hondaraj.
Hondaraj Waldner Alexian. Hondaraj.
It's
a rough
mouthful.
one. It's a rough one.
I like Hondaraj. It sounds very fancy.
Yeah.
But we have to say it.
That.
Hondaraj.
Hondaraj. He's a cello. He's Chelish. So that, they like their fancy names in Cheliax. Hondaraj, a Chelish nobleman, along with 2 other compatriots, sets sail for Osirian, which is a country in northern Garund. So we'll be going there soon. Also relevant to talk about them now. The boat they sail bears the emblem of 3 asps or snakes. Everyone has the document out so you can see like the logo.
Ooh.
It
looks kind of like the Ouroboros snake. Like the snake eating its own tail in a circle,
Yes.
except it's a figure 8.
Yes.
It's like an infinity symbol of a snake kind of eating its own tail.
With 2 other circles in there too.
Yeah.
Presumably the other 2 snakes.
I get like Celtic knot vibes
Yeah.
joined with snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Celtic snakes.
Celtic knot snakes.
Snaketic vibes.
Snake-tic vibes. I don't like that. But they set out and they're going to Osirian. And when they get there, they go to all the locals, like all the little arts and crafts store and all the mercantile districts. And they're like, we would like to buy everything you have. I have wonderful silvers to buy. So they buy pottery, they buy artwork, they buy literally everything. They find like a kindergartner who's making macaroni pictures. They buy that. Like they buy literally every possible art cultural thing they can think of.
Okay.
They go back to West Crown in Cheliax, and all of a sudden these arts and crafts have magically transformed into rare Osirian artifacts.
Oh my gosh.
Did they change anything about them, or is it just as they were and now we're
merchandising?
We're just saying they're rare artifacts.
It's like,
okay.
Yeah, a bunch of white people taking stuff from other groups of people and being like, this is a rare artifact, and you're like, it's a macaroni picture.
This is strong British Empire going into ancient Egypt and taking all their stuff vibes. Yes. And turns out all of these ancient pieces of artwork and rare cultural artifacts are worth a ton of money.
Well,
tons of money.
Sure.
And it immediately becomes like this Chelish fad.
Oh.
Almost like the British fad of like, oh, I have Egyptian things in my house.
Yep.
So people start clamoring for all these ancient Osirian artifacts.
Yeah.
And they make a boatload of money. They make all the money.
Oh boy.
Enough to where they officially established the Aspis Consortium. I'm going to call it the consortium because I cannot pronounce Aspis. See, I'm going to keep making that mistake.
It makes sense. I didn't think of the
Aspis.
I didn't realize the asp
Yes.
in Aspis was talking about the snake. I was just like, that's a hard name to pronounce.
So the Aspis Consortium is founded based on this enormous boatload of money from sold trinkets. Macaroni pictures sold for $1,000 because that macaroni picture was made by the child of a pharaoh. And yeah. Great start.
Oof.
And this is the start of them as an organization. Again, think of them like, I guess, shout out to our Yakuza listeners and our mafioso listeners, I guess. Please don't hurt us. Maybe, hopefully. But yeah, they start to quickly transition into like they're merchants, they sell things, but they keep their secrets and like what they are selling very close to their chest.
Well, you kind of have to, right? Because obviously, did people figure out that what they were selling was effectively like
not rare,
like not artifacts?
I'm sure some people figured this out, but I mean, it's obviously pre-internet days.
You couldn't Google it.
Yeah, you can't take a picture and put it on like a form like, hey, I bought this rare table from this merchant. Do you guys think this is
somebody
real?
took it on Antiques Roadshow Golarion edition.
But also, like, I mean, you think about the real world too. Like, stuff is only worth something because we have ascribed a value
That's
to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
So much of commerce is like, hey, I said this thing was cool and now everybody wants it. And then the price goes up.
Yeah.
So even if it is something that like other people could source, like you have to think about then people from Shellyax still have to go back to Osirian to get these things. So okay, sure, I could go buy this artwork at a lower price, but then I have to get across the world, and we've decided that this is something that people want now, and it's a status
and like
thing,
people are probably not putting up, they're not putting up the effort to like, I'm going to go get it myself and realize, oh wait, no, this is all really cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So they make a boatload of money. The consortium is founded. West Crown becomes we'll call it an HQ. They're a very decentralized organization. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a second, but their oldest trading house, their center of commerce, is here in West Crown in Shellyax, and it is their generally accepted headquarters.
Nice.
They're like a bad Sotheby's.
The Sotheby's? I don't know what that is.
It's a
big auction house.
It's in the UK.
Oh, okay.
But it's like where people go to buy their like fancy old stuff. But they're like the DL version of it.
Yeah.
More Sotheby's.
Yes.
Might be. Is it Sotheby's or is it Sotheby's?
Sotheby's.
Sotheby's.
Anyway,
let's talk then.
Sotheby's.
There's
no R.
There it is. Sotheby's.
Just British. Sotheby's.
We don't know.
Anyway.
Well, let's talk then about who is the consortium.
Yes.
Anymore? Actually, yeah, go. Who do you think the consortium is?
I think the consortium. In my head, it's a bunch of people who are like way in over their head of like, they started the scam and now they're just trying to like run to keep up with it. Everyone just like acts like they know what's happening and no one really knows what's happening. That's my idea. It's probably wrong.
At some level, that's not wrong.
I mean, I was hoping for more like devious intentional crime.
There's definitely more of a vibe to that. So
where like maybe the center people have a specific thing that they are after, but nobody else knows, and then everybody else is doing like just like the grunt work, but there's some secret goal somewhere.
You're not far off. The closest analog is actually like a modern corporation.
Oh, okay.
At the very top are the patrons. These are your board of directors.
Sure.
I know we've already done like a corporate analogy episode.
That one didn't land as well. So this one is actually going to...
This one is more applicable. The patrons specifically. There are 8 shareholders or patrons, and they meet once every new moon in a different Chelish city. So they never meet in the same city twice in a row. Tyler's laughing.
No, I'm just thinking of like an actual board. Like if you're on a board and for a company, you're just like, we got to meet at this night in this day. And you're like, guys, come on. Can we just like get on a call? Like, no, we have to meet in person. It has to be real dark and mysterious.
Well, it's important you said that, Tyler, because the patrons make it a point to not know each other.
Oh.
And they do the utmost to have plausible deniability and like never be able to out who the other patrons are.
Oh, it's a new moon because that's when it's dark out. And so they can all stand in a dark room in a dark building and not see each other.
First order on the agenda. New motto names.
Well, and it's unclear, but it sounds like the patrons might be a bit of a rotating cast. Like you would never know if a patron member is killed and someone else takes their place. Like,
oh, dang.
So you could be Weekend at Bernie's-ing a patron member. I assume they probably wear masks or something when they all meet up, but a point is made. They do not know who each other are. They all only know like a portion of the business, kind of like you said, Sam. They only know a little bit. They all know a section of what's going on.
Okay.
Below them are the executives. There are 2 president and CEOs in the consortium.
Okay. Cool.
The first one, the fun one first, is Jadis Milron Maldis the 4th. IV, the 4th. He never goes to meetings.
Sure.
He's like a playboy who hangs out, uses all the consortium's money, and he lets everyone else run everything.
How did he get to this position of power?
He is the 4th. He is the 4th in the line of the consortium. So of the 3 guys who originally went over, I could not find his great-great-grandfather's name, but he is descended from one of the original 3 merchants.
Okay.
He's a Nepo baby.
He is 100% a Nepo baby. Yep. He just playboys it around, spends a bunch of money.
That sounds right.
He does occasionally go to meetings and is very disinterested. Like, oh, whatever. When do I get my salary?
Yeah. Hits on girls. Hey, I'm part of the Aspis Consortium. What do you guys do? What don't we do?
What don't we do? It is interesting. He actually is he's not a weak person though. So I looked up his 1E stats. He's a aristocrat 4, mesmerist 7. And I had never even heard of mesmerist.
Mesmerist are like, yeah, I mean, they're not great. They're kind of like mind. I mean, they're like hypnotists, kind of.
They're like, after reading the whole thing, they're like, it's an occulty bard focusing on mind manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So it's even like creepier then that he's a playboy who's all in on mesmerist.
I don't like
Yeah.
Well, now that's weird.
that.
Yeah. So like clearly not a good dude, but goes to meetings occasionally, once or twice a year. So congrats to him. And then we have the actual president CEO, Adrius. He is the public face. He is the chief executive. Or sorry, she.
Yeah, ladies
Yeah.
can be in charge of stuff.
Adrius.
Apparently.
She. AX Adrius. I don't know what the A
AX.
and the X stand for.
It's very
Adrius
mysterious.
X Adrius.
Adrius. She is Fighter 3 Rogue 10.
Okay.
Okay.
So she can take care of herself.
Yeah,
she
she
can
didn't start
kick
as
some
a
butt.
dumb NPC class. She started off in the weeds.
Yes. So she will take public questions. She will hold like public forums and be like, oh, no, the consortium is just here as a legitimate place of business.
Oh,
as
sure. Naturally.
We only trade here in the consortium. She also is probably the one that knows the most of like all the operations.
Okay.
But compared to the patrons, she knows way more than all the patrons.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. She is the only one who knows about Conference Z.
Zombies.
Zombie.
Zero
That's what I
zombies.
We'll get there. We'll get to Conference Z.
Aspis Umbrella Corporation.
We'll get there.
Snakes, zombies. That's fine.
We'll get there. Then below our board, we have kind of our upper management team, our gold ranking members, our gold members. These are regional leaders. They're specialty leaders. So it either could be you're in charge of the Chalice region, or it could be you're in charge of all sailing operations. Maybe like global director, if we're using corporate terms, like
Yeah, regional manager.
yeah. They're the ones who, back to kind of what Sam was saying, they know what's going on the ground, and they have a good idea of what the tactical and strategic goals are.
Okay.
So they're the ones in the area that actually know what's happening. Even the patrons don't know. Adrius might not know details. A gold member should know and run everything in an area.
Okay.
Below that are our silver members. I imagine these as like our low-level managers, maybe like our high-level specialists. Maybe upper, like maybe middle managing.
The middle managing that get reorged every 3
Yes.
years, and all the silver members have to reapply for their jobs.
Yes. They have some autonomy. They usually have some idea of what the strategic goal is. Like they may not be given the entire picture, but they're told a little bit of, you're going to this place because of reasons. They're at least told the reasons. Those reasons might not be true, but they're told the reasons. They're also the highest level of people willing to get their hands dirty. It is very, very rare for a gold member to do any actual work.
Yeah.
Like to get down and get their hands dirty.
Typical upper management.
Yes. Yes. It's all the silver members and below. They're going to actually do the killing / trading / whatever.
What? Killing? People are dying? I thought we were selling artifacts.
No, people would kill for these market deals.
There it is.
Killing it for these sales.
We're killing it in profits.
That's right. And then we have our bronze members. Our bronze members are low tier. They typically have no idea what the bigger picture is. They're told, you're going to this place because I told you, and they go do that. But they are still skilled. It is unlikely that a bronze member is a bronze member because they're just a mook. Like they're probably an experienced fighter, a ship captain, like some other skill set they bring that warrants them actually being part of the organization. And then we get to the freelancers, the contractors.
Oh, God, they don't have health insurance, do they?
They do not have health insurance. By quantity, this is by far the largest number. The consortium is like 9/10 probably.
Oh, wow.
Freelancers and contractors. everything else, mercenaries, merchant people, anything that's going to go wrong, it's always the freelancers who have to deal with it. All of their jobs are paid up front, which is nice.
Yeah.
But then when things go wrong, they point to like, well, the consortium had no point in all those needless deaths. That was ABC Mercenary Corporation.
These were independent contractors.
Yep.
Oh, God. Aspis Consortium is Walmart.
It makes it very difficult to unravel any specific consortium plans or schemes because 90% of their operations are freelancers.
So how do you go from freelancer to bronze member? Or is it one of those things that like generally freelancers never move up? It's just like bronze members just get pulled in from other bronze members?
No, bronze members are your downline.
Yeah. Like
Bronze members are typically freelancers who show specific aptitude for a skill or trustworthiness. The whole organization is very nepo.
Yeah.
They like to hire more of their own. They like to hire friends. So yeah, you need to do something usually to show that you're valuable, but it's not a particularly difficult like bar to get over to be a bronze member.
Fair.
Don't screw up 3 jobs, and I'm sure someone would offer you the opportunity.
There you go. Which then begs the question, how many people are screwing up jobs constantly if 9/10 of the people are freelancers?
I might have made up 9/10.
Yeah.
It's the largest percentage.
Yeah,
It could
okay.
be 51, but I imagine
Yeah.
in my own headcanon, like there's a bunch of boats and like people running around and it's all freelancers. And then there's just one member who's like writing contracts.
That's fair.
But hey, what we've learned is that there is upward movement, and that's what I look for in a company. So.
That's right. Promotion. You can get promoted in the consortium. That's right.
Yes.
The consortium also has like side offshoots and other projects that they're independently looped into. So like for our campaign, I had the lumber consortium.
Oh, yes.
Lumber bucks.
Yes. And so there's like, they have seats on other boards and they're independently, like they're not part of the consortium, but if you were to look at the lumber consortium's own leadership team, like, oh, 2 of those people are in the Aspis
The Aspis Consortium.
Aspis Consortium. So there's definitely connections to other organizations as well as kind of puppet organizations.
Okay.
So all that being said, what does the consortium do?
What do you say you do here?
What do you do here? Number 1, they make money.
Yes.
Woo.
That's the primary thing they want to do. Everything about the consortium is about making money. A very large portion of what they do is legal.
Okay.
That's the smart way to do an illegal business.
That's right. You need those legal fronts to launder that money. They do actually serve a pretty valuable component of international trade. Their large scale lets them coordinate voyages and protection parties for actually legitimate business purposes. So if you want to sail to Arcadia, a consortium convoy is actually a legitimate and safe way to do that. And there's probably nothing illegal going on.
Okay.
Probably. Yes. Especially for any kind of international stuff. The consortium is really, really useful. They also legally provide a lot of mercenary services. You can go to a consortium house and ask for some mercenaries, ask for protection. It's not a racket. That's a legitimate way to find protection from bad people who are hunting you. If you're the good guys and you pay them, they'll work for the good guys. They don't care. They make money.
They're here to make money. That's fair.
But they also do a lot of shadier stuff.
Of course.
They're big fans of drug trading. International drug trade is a big one for them. They are, depending on where you are, either turn a blind eye or actively encourage slaving. So in Avestan, there's very little active slaving, even in Cheliax where slavery is legal. Like they kind of see themselves as like better than that. But then if they go to like Arcadia, they are absolutely trying to pull in slaves and like capture people. So not great. And general economic exploitation is a common theme. Setting up mines, resource exploitation, any kind of questionably legal enterprise that would make a lot of money. The consortium probably has a hand in it.
I mean, it makes sense if there's zero moral compass and it's like make money at all costs, then like, yeah, of course you want to make sure you're not getting caught, but you're like, these things are going to make a ton more money. So
yeah. And I think the interesting part is it's very explicit that their morals adapt to their environment. So if they're in a quote unquote civilized part of the world, they will not do certain things, or if they go to uncivilized parts, they're much more open about their brutality.
Sure.
As long as they don't get caught. And that's why the freelancer bronze, silver, gold structure is there.
Aspis Consortium motto, don't get caught.
It might as well be, yes. They're also into some weirder stuff.
Okay.
So I mentioned Conference Z, and I had
Yes.
not heard of any of this previously. So
Neither
this
have
was
I.
kind of interesting to me.
Zombies.
Not zombies. So this is from the Serpent's Ire Pathfinder Society scenario. So
Okay.
I guess spoilers for that. That's a pretty...
Is it a 1E maybe?
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
1E,
so-
1E Pathfinder Society scenario. So it's pretty old.
Yeah.
I mean,
Whatever.
yeah, it's fine. I would describe them as the Area 51 or like the DARPA of the consortium.
Ooh. Okay. A lot of conspiracies, a lot of like secrecy.
Yes. So it was originally conceived as a group of members who could try literally anything and experiment with anything, free of taboos or conventions.
Radical acceptance.
It sounds like we're either torturing people or we're doing some weird orgy things.
I mean,
I'm like, what is that? What are we experimenting
just-
with without taboo? What does this mean?
I couldn't-
I'm very concerned.
I couldn't put this in my own words. So this is a direct quote from the society scenario. Its individual cells engage in all kinds of bizarre and dangerous studies, such as alien languages, biological hypnosis, elder science, enhanced cryptozoology, geothermic industry, immortality, interplanar economics, mass teleportation, psychic enrichment, revivified prophecy, and temporal redundancy.
Okay.
Oh, well, that sounds like way less weird than where my brain went. So
In all of this, you have all these things that are like elder gods and other kind of like dark archive stuff. Geothermic energy. Such
Clean power.
limitless power.
we want to talk to the aliens. Okay, that sounds fine.
Yeah,
You do
that
you,
is-
bro.
What's the what's that thing online where it's the different files?
X-Files?
No, it's that internet thing where it's like if there's creepy
SCP?
like SC is that it? SCP?
SCP.
Yeah.
I love SCP. Yeah.
Where it's like each one has a different type of it's like kind of like a creepy pasta or like
Some of them are creepy pastas. Sam's looking at us very
What
weird.
is happening right now?
So okay. So
the
there's
only
this
creepypasta I know is
let
when
me
you
look
get
up
the
the
Halloween
SCP.
mac
Hold
and
on.
cheese and it's in skull
Okay.
shapes.
What does
Okay.
SCP even stand for? Here we go. Special Containment Procedures.
So yeah, so basically like if it would be like the Wendigo has a file in the SCP and it's basically like a kind of meta narrative of like anybody has secret like old wives tales or like horror stories
so
or
we're
whatever.
putting the Yeti in here and the chupacabras.
Yeah,
and
and
Yes.
like there's other stuff.
What was the movie, the horror movie, where the end gets all crazy because they like realize it's all a conspiracy? Oh,
Cloverfield?
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the
Cabin in
Woods.
the Woods. Oh, yeah.
SCP. It reminds me of that. Of like they
Okay.
go into the basement and there's just like arcane horrors and like
okay.
experimentation of teleportation things and like
Yeah, so it's
all the crazies.
Look, this sounds way more fun now that we've talked about what's actually taboo.
Yeah.
And
I'm in.
whatever. I'm
Tyler's in
like,
for
it's kind of
recruitment.
weird, but like, okay, this sounds like just some, sci-fi nerds in the basement. It's fine.
I mean,
bunch of Trekkies.
there's definitely a lot of awful torture and like that goes along
Aw.
with it. So like I like the one temporal redundancy. Like what does that time redundancy?
Temporal redundant. Yeah, I don't know. That was one of those like corporate buzzwords they said. No one actually
Synergy.
knows what it means.
Temporal redundancy.
And everyone's like, "Do you know what that means?" And he's like, yeah, obviously. Do you know do you not?" And you're like, No. I know what that means. Of course, temporal redundancy. And then it's just gotten so big that everyone says it and no one knows what it means.
We are an agile company interested in synergy, biological hypnosis, and temporal redundancy.
Yes. Huh.
Turns out their funding, only Adrius knows about it. So like the rest of the patrons don't even know it exists.
Oh.
Like only,
I was right.
yes, she's the only one who knows about it, at least from like leadership.
Yeah.
And literally just like, I put the DARPA reference in here, like 5% of all profits just like disappear into Black Fund to never be seen again.
Oh.
And all the patrons like are just like, well, that's just the money that goes to R&D, right? And she's like, yep.
I mean, it does kind of go to R&D.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
That is what it is.
Yes.
So in Serpent's Ire, the Pathfinder Society figures, they like learn of what it is. And in 4716 AR, they disrupt one of the cells of that, of the area of Conference Z specifically. But the organization's way too big to like take down. So yes, you interrupt one of the specific cells doing specific torture things.
Oh. But
it's very obviously acknowledged even in that scenario of like, you got one terrorist cell, like, congratulations.
Man, this is just so much cooler than I imagined it was. Like, I feel like you just hear about it. It's like, oh yeah, they're probably just a dumb group of
crime people.
They're the mafia.
Like, yeah, you're like, whatever, that's boring. But like, no, like as you get deeper and peel off the onions, you're like, huh, that's strange. That's stranger. That's what? Like,
what if the Godfather was interested in mass teleportation?
I also want you to know that when you first said elder sciences, I thought old people. And then Tyler was like,
I already said
gods.
Immortality.
I was like,
temporal redundancy, clean energy, alien technology, helping the olds.
I was like,
sustainable retirement homes.
Medicare for all.
Look, they're free of all taboos, okay?
Taboo, like clean energy.
They're improving hip replacements everywhere, okay?
This is heart transplants.
Yes. Oh, nice.
So if you ever need a baddie to just, like, if you ever need any organization to blame anything on in your campaign, just blame it on Conference Z. Who's going to say no?
Just Aspis Consortium. Yeah, Consortium did it. What?
There's such a great way to use them for that, though. Like, oh yeah, it's the Consortium's fault. I can't dispute that. Like,
your cereal's expired. What do you mean Consortium's fault?
Yeah. That's the Consortium. They're mostly legit, but not always legit. And they're into more stuff than I expected them to be into.
That's kind of
And
cool.
they've got a creepy sci-fi basement. Woo!
Yeah, my only experience of them was like, they're an organization. They're kind of into shady stuff. End of sentence.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool to know that it's more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. They're exactly what they are there. They're very clearly written to be there when you need them. They're exactly what you need them to be as a GM.
Nice.
All right. Well, I know that I can't wait to meet the Aspis Consortium out in the world and figure out what weird stuff they're into. But until we do that, we are going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with potentially some campaigns, maybe some characters, or maybe other weird thoughts. Who knows? And we're back. Tyler, campaigning.
Yes. So this campaign that I thought of while you were talking about this,
We weren't going to do a campaign.
And then I'm like, oh, I have a campaign that'd be kind of fun. So I work in corporate, and there's a saying that you rise to the level of your incompetence.
Oh boy.
No.
So basically, it's a concept of, as you are in a corporate area, you usually start somewhere that you're like specialized in. And then you like will get promoted, and then you'll get promoted. And like you find these people who get promoted above, like one level above where they're competent in.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just get stuck there.
Yep.
So I think it'd be really funny to have a bunch of characters who like are like hard up for a job, and they start as like freelancers for the Aspis Consortium, but they have like no idea what's going on, and they're just kind of like doing their job. And like, I feel like you'd almost have to have like a morally gray, like this, you guys just are in it for the money, kind of like.
Yeah, you have to come into the campaign with that assumption.
Yeah. And so like, rather than any sort of like, career development or anything, they just keep getting promoted throughout they just like keep finishing their missions, and everyone's like, cool, you're now a bronze member. Everyone's like, okay, cool, we're just doing that. And you just keep doing your jobs, and like things keep getting weirder and weirder as you go up.
This would be so frustrating as a GM to run. So like, you almost want it to not have a cohesive storyline.
Yeah.
I think what would be funnier is if they keep getting mistaken for other people. So it's not like you are even being promoted. Like if you start out as freelancers and then like you complete some task, but then throughout that task something has happened to then your bronze members, and then the silver person shows up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like, yes, good job. Well, you've done so great.
Frank, you're one of my favorite managers, Frank. I'm so glad you're here, and your team did a great job. Like,
Since nobody really knows like who anyone is.
Yeah.
That would be really good. And then you just kind of like, it comes with a big bonus or something. Everyone's like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll fake this. And it's just like, you keep going and then something else happens. And it's like, yeah, one of those things where as you rise through the ranks, like you're just constantly like gift packaged up to the next level.
This is like one giant campaign of yes and.
Yes.
Like, I just want a scene at some point where like you've met with you've come to a meeting with like the next higher up or something about whatever the job is, and then like a giant snake monster just comes out and eats that person, and then it's like you're just there and you're like, oh, I guess we'll figure it out. And then the next higher person shows up and they're like, oh, I thought we were meeting with Jim today, and you're all like, nope, it's us. Oh, well, great job. Come with me to the executive meeting. Like, just really random stuff would be funny.
Like the person's report is still sitting on the desk. Yes. And it's like, well, their report's right there, so I guess you're presenting their information.
And you're like, okay.
Looks like you've gotten a promotion.
Yeah, you just keep going on. You're like, while we're talking about this, it's like the did you ever watch the movie The Man Who Knew Too Little?
No.
It's a Bill Murray movie where like he gets, I can't remember if he buys it for himself or like somebody buys it for him, but it's like it's one of those real life adventure role playing things.
Yeah.
And he like ends up just thinking it's fake, but like ends up in like espionage between Russia and America and stuff. And he's just like going through thinking it's all a big game and like, oh yeah, whatever. Like people are trying to shoot him. He goes, man, this is very realistic. And just like ends up in like Moscow. And it's just like, gosh, they pull out all the stops
they really
for this.
Go for it.
So yeah, you're just like, you just keep going up the ranks and getting through there.
I feel like I would have a flat 1 in 10 chance for any NPC to die when they like walk on stage.
Yes, but
like
in really
full chaos.
Really strange ways.
Yeah, like yeah.
It's full cabin in the woods here.
Yes. Yeah, 1 in 10 shot, any NPC who enters the scene, like before they even walk in, it's like, okay, well, they're going to die at some point in this scene. And then you roll like 1 to 100, like random death. Like,
oh, yes.
Well, turns out an interdimensional anvil just flew out of the corner and smashed his head. Congratulations, you've gotten a promotion.
Would the campaign end with everybody being paid and the party end up being the patrons? You like rise to
but only one patron. They're like 6 people stacked in a giant trench coat or a super wide trench coat.
You just like patron number 7. So he got way bigger, didn't he? It's like one mask, just a bunch of people hiding under a chair.
Or make all the characters play small creatures, so that's a joke at the end.
3 men in a trench coat. Yeah, that would just be funny. Just a lighthearted. You start in it like what you think is corporate Golarion.
It gets weirder and weirder as you go.
Start working your way up, and yeah, things start getting weirder, and you're like, don't question it. It's fine.
This would be good. I think this is like a 4-session run.
Yeah.
Like you do 1 session or like 1 set of missions for each level, and then you just like randomly promote them.
Yep. I like that.
This is awesome.
Yeah. This would not have a lot of staying power as a character. You basically have to tell everybody like, you need to have characters who are willing to like do anything for the company and just like go with the flow. Company before character.
Or you just really want to get paid.
Yeah, you really want to get paid, and you are willing to do whatever it takes to just like make sure you get that paycheck.
Anything for $1.
Anything for $1.
I love this.
Nice.
Do we want to rank factions? We don't have to. I'm just
if we start doing factions, yeah, this is going to be a new ranking system. We'll see how much it sticks. Of like, what would their like Glassdoor review be? Where it's like, what's it like to work here?
I kind of like this. It's going to be a little subjective, but I kind of love that.
Okay, so like,
yeah, because like this would be good, like the Hell Knights, the Eagle Knights. Yeah, I think this is a good idea.
Okay, so this is gonna be I think this will be tabletop faction guide.
Yes.
And
what metrics does Glassdoor rank on?
I think it's
Or
a
what-
1 to 5 star.
Is it just a 1 to 5 star? I didn't know if they did other things. It's been a while since I've been on there.
But I think the funnier part is like you can read the review. Like I think a 1 sentence from each of us would be really funny.
Okay.
Like
yes.
I don't think we need to agree on the stars, but I think
No.
our
Sure,
responses
sure.
should indicate something about
Ooh,
the yes.
Okay. Who wants to do their score first?
I'm checking like some sample reviews. Yeah, okay. I think I would give it 5 out of 5 stars. Got paid on time. Only got interrupted benefits 1 time.
Payroll's very on time.
Payroll very accurate. Never had a concern with housing or food.
All right, I'm going to go 2 out of 5. Was paid up front, but fired immediately after being blamed for something I did not do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 5 out of 5. I get to live out all of my dreams and experiments that I want to do by ... The rest of this review has been removed due to privacy concerns.
5 out of 5. Review redacted.
Review redacted. Cool.
I love it.
That sounds pretty accurate, I feel like.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a little all over the place.
Nice.
Beautiful. We'll take us home, Sam.
All right, well, on that note, yay! All right. Remember, everyone, we have a Patreon, link in the show notes or on our website, or search us on Tabletop Travel Guide Podcast. Thank you to all of our listeners. We hope that you are enjoying listening as we move into season 2 and try some new things. If you are enjoying the show, please tell your friends. Also tell us, let us know how you feel like it's going. Feel free to reach out to us via email at tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com. Also head to our website for pictures, character sheets, additional show materials that we talk about in each episode. That is tabletoptravelguide.com. And until next time, happy travels!